Now, inside your public community aid, you're going to find the forms. Now, to add organizers or other people who can edit this form, you're going to need to click on Send and Add Collaborators. Do not add anyone who you do not want to be able to edit these forms. Go ahead and do that for your core team of organizers. Otherwise, anybody who has access to this public aid folder is only going to see the form. Now, these two spreadsheets are the offers and requests shown to the public. They're in view only, so you will not edit them. If you're interested in adding another column from one of the original spreadsheets that's connected to the form, this is the function that you will put in. It's equal import range, the HTML, which is just copying and pasting that, but it has to be a spreadsheet, not a form, comma, and then make sure that they're in quotation marks, the name of the worksheet in the form, and then the column that you would like to import. So all of these are connected to the spreadsheets in your private folder that only the organizers have access to. That way, when someone makes a submission in the public-facing form, it updates in the private spreadsheet, and then it masks all the identification information of the people offering and requesting and only shows the public the unique identification number, the status of the request, and then what the requests are. This is the same for the offers. They can see an ID, they can see the offers, and then they'll see if the person who's making the offer has already participated. Again, if you're going to add a range, add it as import range, quotation around the spreadsheet you're trying to import from, again, quotation marks, the name of the worksheet on the other spreadsheet, and then what column and row it starts in all the way to the end of that column. So if you would like to change what is seen here, you can do that, but please make sure that you're masking the identification of at-risk members in your community. Now, the last thing that you will find in the public-facing folder is a resource list. The reason why we have chosen to use a document instead of a spreadsheet is so that we can give better written out instructions to our community. This way, they can go ahead and scroll down the table of contents to find information that is uniquely important to your community. We have not went ahead and filled out any of these because what is the COVID-19 coronavirus might change in the future. So anytime someone downloads this material, we would want them to repopulate it so that the most up-to-date information is there. Please make sure you validate the information, but also realize that we've put in some wording here so that people understand that the organizers do not have control over whether or not those services stop. We're going to find a lot of service shortages over the next however long it's going to take for the pandemic to end here or in your community. We did put in the COVID hotline for the United States and the National Suicide Hotline in the United States. This is going to be different if you're in Canada or any other country. Maybe your country doesn't have a hotline for this. But please make sure the top hotlines go at the very top of the document so people can find them very quickly. Also, you're going to want to go back in and reattach these forms. So go ahead and add people who can take a look around at each of the different files. Go ahead and open all of them in Google Sheets. This one's the Community Aid Offers form. So these are the responses. You're not going to change anything in here except whether or not the volunteers completed a request. So you can go ahead and pick yes or no. And if it's yellow, what that means is that the person in your community who has provided an offer has already given at least one offer. This allows you to be able to scroll through them and not call on them again for a whole nother round. You don't want to tire out our volunteers, so it's important to go down the list of each volunteer. Otherwise, this section will be populated by the offers form, which is a public-facing form. You're going to want to make sure that each of these forms are shared with your internal group. And you do that by clicking share, so people can edit, comment, or view. Now, it's important that you keep the core organizing group small. They're going to have access to people's private information, such as names, phone numbers, and addresses. The goal is to connect people who are making offers and who are having requests while also protecting people's identity. So when you call an individual about an offer or a request, you should always ask them whether or not it is okay to share their private information. So you can go ahead and add anyone by email, and they should have access to edit this form or comment or simply view. I would focus, like I said, just strictly on allowing organizers to edit and view this, not the general public. The next sheet that we'll be looking at is going to be the Childcare sign-up form. Also has an ID so you can communicate who went where without using names. This will provide everything you need to be able to start processing background checks if you send them to a provider. So as people become ill, it's going to be important that we can still provide child care. There are already child care facilities in your area. I would suggest reaching out to them and letting them know that you're collecting this list, and then provide it to them to be able to follow up and do the background checks. So make sure again that you're changing these names. And remember that this is a response sheet, so you do not need to edit this directly. This is also a public-facing form, and it will populate itself. A community organizer's information spreadsheet. All of the organizers who have access to the private folder should update this sheet with their information. This way you can keep track of them, and you can also make sure to have all of their communication, telephone, and email so that you guys can keep up to date. We also suggest creating a Slack or even a Signal to keep up with rapid response communication. This is the request form. The only thing that you're going to be updating inside this is going to be the organizer's name so that you can keep track of who is reaching out to those members of the community, and then the status. Needs assistance, started, reoccurring, completed. When you get a new request, go ahead and mark it as need assistance, and that'll turn green, letting your organizers know that that is something that they can pick up. Once it's been started, it's important to click over to started so that it's yellow, so that people know that this one is not needed to be picked up quite yet by someone else. Reoccurring or completed. Over here will be self-populating data from the form that's public-facing. You do not need to write in this except to add any additional comments or to let them know where in the process you are. So for instance, we will update in the spreadsheet, made a phone call, left a message. Every step of the way, your organizers should be keeping everyone else in the know so that there's no repetitive reaching out and that we don't overwhelm the people who've made requests and offers. In addition to this, we've provided a document where your organizers can add meeting minutes for your brainstorming sessions. We suggest that you include the date, who participated in that meeting, what the goals were for the meeting, and a brief agenda. You're also going to find a little overview for your new organizers that will have a video of how to set up your community aid, just like this video, and then another one about how to coordinate. Now, in the public community aid folder, this is the one that you will be sharing to the broader public. Go ahead and click share. Click get shareable link. Click can view. Go to more and click on public on the web. This allows anyone to have access and find this folder. They will not even need to sign in to Google Drive. In the public-facing folder, you're going to find 3 files.